anything that pings or beeps, or we are just waiting for showtime here, though.
It's 1 minute past.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming to the San Antonio Book Festival. We welcome all of you. This has been a year in the making, but months in preparation, and it's been an incredible group of volunteers that have made this all possible. So thanks for coming and participating. And remember that just after this session, that Richard Rodriguez will be signing copies of Darling and any other books you might have brought in the mezzanine level. So just after we finish today at 4:15, he will be there to do that. My name is John Philip Santos. It is an extraordinary honor to be here with two writers who I really regard as mentors. And so it's an honor to be given an opportunity to just introduce them. Virgilio Elizondo, whose work will be known to, I'm sure, many of you here from San Antonio, theologian, international thinker, international scholar, whose works include The Future is Mestizo, Life Where Cultures Meet, The Galilean Journey, The God of Incredible Surprises, and about a dozen other ones that you probably know as well. Virgil's work has always been an inspiration for many of us in terms of connecting our experiences here in San Antonio to a broad theological, maybe even cosmological understanding of who we are as human beings. And the opportunity to have him here today to engage in a conversation with Richard, I think, is just an extraordinary privilege for all of us. And indeed, to have Richard Rodriguez here, as I was saying to him before, to have him here in San Antonio is a great honor. It's really long awaited. He claims to have visited here quite often, but he's been very selective with who he has visited in previous visits. So we can judge ourselves lucky to have time with him today. Richard's work has been an extraordinary testimony to the complexity of American identity from the beginning of his career as a writer with Hunger of Memory, Brown, and Days of Obligation, and now Darling, a spiritual autobiography. He's connected an understanding of American identity coming out of a Mexican-American experience, but really engaged with a broad international, global, art, historical, literary, philosophical, and in this book, maybe even theological reflection. He has challenged us always in his writing and in his work with McNeil Lehrer Neusauer to expand the scope of our imagination, to expand the scope of our understandings. So it's a great honor to be able to introduce Richard Rodriguez.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to, I was talking to a New York editor after September 11th, and he said to me, when I proposed that I wanted to write about religion in this very dangerous age, he said that if you write too stylishly about religion, the pious will not read it. And if you write too piously about religion, the stylish won't read it. So I've written a book that is both pious and stylish, and God help me. After September 11th, I was struck by the fact that I know almost nothing. I knew almost nothing about Islam, except some cartoon version of Islam, gathered from maybe British movies like Lawrence of Arabia, wherever it came from. And my journey to the Middle East was in some way just to satisfy my own hunger of knowledge. I didn't know who these people were, didn't know what their grievance was with us as Americans, and so forth. And I think what I learned from living and even worshiping with Muslims is that as a Christian, I adore a desert God. And they reminded me that these religions of Abraham, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, are desert religions. and that the God who revealed himself to Abraham revealed himself to us, revealed himself in a landscape of such desolation that we almost do not dare to confront it. Witness Las Vegas, a city constructed on every sort of evasion of the desert's conclusions. One of the things that I wanted to do with this book is I wanted to introduce the people who walked through my soul. So Elvis Presley's in this book, Tina Turner's in this book, Saint Teresa of Lisieux is in this book, the Prophet Muhammad is in this book, Christopher Hitchens, the famous British atheist who told us all that God is dead, having left England where God is very much alive, the Hindu God and the Muslim God, came to the United States to tell us God is dead, that Mother Teresa in the pages of Vanity Fair magazine, a magazine otherwise given to in-depth interviews with movie stars of no depth, he wrote that Mother Teresa was ugly, which interested me very much. Anyway, Christopher Hitchens and I are both in an elevator in New York. He smells of very expensive liquor when he walks into the elevator. We worked on a BBC project together some years earlier. But I never forgave him for his treatment of Mother Teresa, not for his criticism, but for that British diffidence toward this Macedonian woman. How ugly she was, he said in the pages of Vanity Fair magazine. And there we are on our knees picking up his paper because he's pushed a button on the elevator and all of his papers have come to the ground. What do you say, what do I want to read to you about a book in which all of this is going on? I decided I wanted to read a few pages of this chapter, the central chapter called Darling, in this book called Darling, about my friendship with a woman who's now dead. On the day her divorce was finalized, she and I had lunch in Malibu at a cafe at a restaurant we used to go to often. I call it the Garden of Eden. That is not its real name, but that is the name I choose to give it. One of the things that's interesting about our friendship is that as a gay man, almost all of my closest friendships have been with women. And the majority of them have been heterosexual women. And that has been since my 20s. And now I'm on the eve of my 70th birthday. That friendship between the gay man and the heterosexual woman is one that preoccupies me. And I know there is somebody watching on C-SPAN who's drifting off and who's beginning to say, oh, gay man, religion. This is a book about justifying homosexuality but it's not. I'm not interested in justifying myself to the religious traditions that reject me. I am more powerfully interested in women and women in religion. This book is dedicated to the Irish Order of Nuns that educated me, the Sisters of Mercy. And it concludes with Mother Teresa going to heaven. I've slipped out and told you the conclusion, so you don't have to read it. I don't think anybody, except maybe this remarkable new Pope, Pope Francis, knows just what is roiling now in half of the world with women and their discomfort and their dissatisfaction. At a point, may I say, in America, where the majority of American women are living without men, and the majority of children now increasingly are being raised without men because they've gone somewhere else. So, my lunch with Darling, the last 3 pages of this chapter, which I'm very proud of, but it's a real chapter, and I'm afraid that I might not be able to make it through the chapter. I write this chapter to Darling. This is the name I give her, the name I always gave her, though she is dead, and she has been dead for 12 years when I write this. You were raised Catholic. You said you didn't believe. Much anyhow. How one lives one's life is what one believes, you said. You admitted to downright needing Christmas and music. Twice you said you didn't know if you assented to the notion of God. Notion? Existence, then. You said you believed in mystery. Mystery. You said religion. Any religion you know about was a cult of patriarchy. Men in the Bible were better fathers than husbands, you noticed. A friend who sat with you the night one of the